Hello and welcome back to my garden. We are going to have a rainy day garden tour today. It is all of 65 degrees outside and I'm wearing a flannel because I'm cold. So let's jump right in here. The flower bed is looking good and loving the rain that we got last night. The nasturtiums are starting to explode and the sweet peas are climbing up like they're supposed to. No signs of any flowers yet, but that's not unexpected. And then the space behind where I cleared out before planting is of course full of weeds, and I'm probably not going to do anything about that. Walkway's starting to get full of weeds, though I do need to come out here and pull those out. We're supposed to get rain for the next 3 or 4 days, so sometime in there while the ground is still wet, I need to come out and pull up the weeds. But yeah, here is the green onion. You can tell where my son picks from sometimes, and then they all grow back. This is my pot of chives that I've yet to do anything with, really. This is my brassica bed. I pulled back that cover last night just to see how they would do overnight, because I'm noticing the pests, aka rats, are really messing with other beds, but nothing has tried touching this one. So my little experiment of leaving it half uncovered seems to have done okay. Actually, it looks like something ate the edge of this leaf right here, so maybe not super okay. But that's alright. I just love brassica leaves. They're hydrophobic, so they get little puddles of water in there, and they're just fun. I like it. But this one is the Romanesco cauliflower. I've noticed that all of the plants in this bed that are going to form a head have started to have their leaves in the middle be kind of tight, like they're getting ready to form their heads. So that is exciting. That's the Romanesco. It looks like the leaf got a little bit eaten here too by birds, maybe. Maybe it was worms. I don't know. I don't mind sharing a little bit of leaf because it doesn't really affect the outcome of the main vegetable. But if they eat my cauliflower, then I would be very sad. But the leaves are starting to clump together. It looks like it's starting to try to form a head in there, so that's exciting. I'm excited. There's some more water balled up. I just love that. It's so much fun. And nasturtium leaves do the same thing, but none of these ones have caught on any of those drops. They've all rolled off. But those nasturtiums in the corners are looking nice. And the volunteer onions that are too close together, but I don't care. They're just going to do their thing. I like it. This is one of the kohlrabi in here. It's getting close, but not quite big enough to harvest. And then back in there, the two in the middle are not great, but then the one in the back, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, that one in the back is starting to look like a sizable piece of food. So we're loving that. Over here, the sprouting broccoli looks like he's starting to try to form a head. The leaves are growing closer together where they want to grow ahead. So the three on this side that are all crowded together are sprouting broccoli. And then on this side, there's three more that are all crowded together, are standard broccoli. They're looking like they might start thinking about doing something cool. So yeah, very happy with this bed right now. Even if the birds are eating the edges of the leaves a little bit, I don't mind. Very pretty. Makes me very happy. And then the back side of this bed, aside from being used to hold my shovels and rakes, are my snap peas that are growing. The second planting of them, the ones on this side, are actually growing better than the ones on this side. So I'm wondering if that's a variety issue or if these ones just didn't like that it was so much warmer when I planted them. I'm not sure, but they're doing amazing. I love it. Then off of that is that little pot of volunteers. One of them's a pepper and the other ones are flowers, and I'm just letting them do their thing. Looks like there might be a weed or two in there too that I need to pull out, but that's okay. And then the small planter of potatoes. The plants are kind of fallen over. They didn't love the rain, but they love the moisture from it, just not necessarily being knocked over. And then in front of those potatoes, we have the salad bar green stalk, which needs to be turned around. So we'll show you this side. Everything's growing a little. Everybody's putting on some new little leaves in the middle. Even the lettuce that I thinned is looking happier and bigger. Some baby leaves up here on the mustard greens. And these lettuces are doing great. And the kale and the collard greens are all, everybody's putting on new leaves, everybody's growing. The nasturtiums on that bottom row are gigantic. And even the onions, they're standing up, they look happy. So green stalk's doing well. Can't complain about that at all. And we'll continue on this direction. The green beans that are in the in-ground bed on the other side of this arch are doing well. They are twirling around. This is a sign from when I had tomatoes here, but they are twirling around the cattle panel in their little spots. And it's so cute. I love that about green beans. Kind of makes them hard to take down when it's time to clean up the garden, but it's worth it because they're pretty. And then I noticed down here there's some volunteer tomatoes, because this bed was, as you can see on here, San Marzano tomato. So those are some volunteer San Marzanos. We might get something from that. I don't know. I'm not pulling them, so they're going to do what they do. This is a tray of onions that I did not get planted. And if you watched one of my more recent videos, this is the bed of onions that I did get planted. Everybody's looking well. This mesh is a little hard to see here through, but the snapdragons over here, they had about a day and a half of transplant shock, but then with this rain, they're very happy. And then the onions are all looking all right. I threw a couple of broccolis in that back corner because I had extra space and I had extra broccolis. So those are going to do okay in there. And I only have this covered because I don't want birds in there digging up, like trying to dig up bugs and then digging up my onions on accident. So this will be covered for probably a few weeks, and then I'll uncover it because nothing's gonna really try to eat my onions, I don't think. But and behind that is the circle bed that you can kind of see, but there's nothing in it. I did get the drip line kind of put over there, but it's not planted with anything yet. Here we have the jicama plant with the fake snake, and the leaves are getting kind of crispy and gross, but not too terribly bad. I'm just waiting for the seed pods to really seed up. Like right now I can feel they're kind of squishy, so there's nothing in there. But I want to save the seeds more than I really care about what I harvest on this particular planting. So I'm just waiting for those seeds to be ready, and then I'll dig it up and see what's in there. And then above that, the melons are still looking covered in aphids and really gross, but they look like they're starting to ripen. This is the last one that's on this trellis specifically, and it's starting to turn a little bit orange in the cracks. So when it drops and hangs down into this bag on its own, that's when I bring it in the house, because that's when it is ready. And the sun decided to grace us with its presence. Here's the rest of the melon trellis, looking pretty raggedy, I won't lie. This one down here, you can see rats got into that one last night, so that's lovely. And there's another one in here, I think it's that one, that is completely hollow, and I need to cut it out and just throw it in the trash, but I haven't done that yet. And to be completely honest, I mean, I've said this before, I am ready to rip this whole thing out, but we have a few melons. This one's turning very orange, and then this one is turning very orange. So, oh, this one is also, sorry for the sunlight, but that one's also turning orange. So we will get a few more melons off of this. I have told myself that this one that's hanging up here, as soon as that one drops, then I can rip out the whole thing, because I'm ready to do it now, but I don't want to have wasted all that time on growing it and then not get that big one that's up there at least. So yeah, that's the melons. I've been coming through and clipping off some of the leaves and putting them in the trash because they just all look like that, and it's It's disgusting, honestly. So soon we will have a cleanup video. This and then something else on the other side of the garden will be the cleanup video. Over here are the potatoes that we planted together, and they're looking very good. Nothing really came up in the back, so it's not like full, but these what's up in the front are just gorgeous. And instead of trying to go inside there and put the drip lines in, I just threw them on top, and that's how I water them when it's not raining. So it works, no complaints. The asparagus and the volunteer lantana back there are looking as massive and crazy as ever. And I was thinking about cleaning them up, but I'm not doing that while it's wet. There's even some corn stalks back here that I forgot to pull out. I'll have to come out and clean all that up when it's dry, because I would like to sprinkle some wildflowers in this little bed here. My lime tree. He didn't look very happy the last few days, but I think he was just thirsty, because now he's happy with this rain. And these two pots in the front, actually right here first, that's a tomato plant that's not doing super great. And then this is the same variety of tomato plant that's doing a little better. It's called an Arctic Rose. I think it's supposed to be happier in cold, so I think that might be why it's happier, since it's cooled down a little bit out here. Which it is by no means cold. Our highs have still been in the 70s, but it is enjoying the cooler than 80s and 90s weather at least. This is my oregano that I finally harvested. I have a few trays of it in the dehydrator right now. I gave it a nice little haircut, so it's all pretty. Let that grow back and trim it and dehydrate some more, because that's the cycle of the oregano plant. And my little seat with water all over it. Here's my purple cayenne pepper, which some of the peppers are ripening to red. So I don't get it. I think I might need to harvest them at this stage if I want to have purple, but the back sides are green, so I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if maybe this will turn purple more or if it's just going to be red. But if anyone has grown purple cayenne pepper and can clue me in on that, let me know in the comments. But otherwise, I'm just letting that grow and seeing what happens. Over here is Pepper Palooza, jalapeno pepper palooza specifically. We got just tons and tons of jalapenos on these plants. And in past videos, I had some turn red when these are supposed to be orange varieties, but then I looked back at the pictures of the orange spice seed packet, and they do look very, very like dark orange, almost red. So having these ones on this side turn almost red is normal. This is an orange spice plant, this whole big massive thing. That's the orange spice. And then in here down lower, the one that's wiggling down there, that's pumpkin spice. That one is a more, look, there's one right there, a more yellowy orange. So they're doing the right thing. I just didn't understand what was supposed to happen. And these ones are the Craig's Grande, which they're getting pretty big, I guess. They're not as big as I would like them to be, because I want like jalapeno poppers, but these will still work. And they're getting all this corking on them, this stripy stretch mark looking stuff. There's a bunch up here too. That means that they're going to be pretty spicy, which I am all for. I love that. That's what's in this bed. This side is all jalapeno. Down here is a, that must be another pumpkin spice. Actually, no, that one might be an orange spice, because that one actually looks orange, and the pumpkin spice was looking red, so this might be an orange spice. But it's stunted because it's in the shadow of the big ones next to it. And I'll just take what I can get off of that. And the poblano next to him is loaded down again with more peppers. And I added some of those in with my pepper relish, which if you haven't watched that video, go watch it. That stuff was delicious. So at least I can use the poblanos. This bed over here, this is the bed that's across from the melon bed. This is the back side of it. It has bell pepper that is putting on lots of them. This is a yellow monster bell, So it's getting lots and lots and lots of fruit and lots of blossoms. So we are very excited for that. I like a good bell pepper. Not quite as much as I like a shishito pepper, but that plant is just so little. Little shishito plant in the middle. And then over on that side is the blot pepper, which I think is probably my new favorite as far as like a sweet snacking bell type of pepper. It's just really good. It's really thick flesh and really juicy. Everything inside the net in this bed is Brussels sprout and 2 Romanesco cauliflowers, I believe. And this one looks like it's been munched on a little bit. Something munched on the leaves. This is the bed we planted together with broccoli. And again, something has munched on a few of them, so I went and planted a couple more because I planted that one because the one right behind it got munched, so I replaced it, but it'll probably still grow. So whatever's munching on them is taking out outer leaves, and the plants will still be fine. I think this bed will actually do a lot better once we remove the melons that are shading it. On the other side of the jalapeno pepper bed, the spicy pepper bed, I guess, but most of them are jalapeno. We have a pot with ginger in it. And then there's this plant, which is an Anaheim pepper. Looks like it might have a couple down here. Look at these guys. Big, shiny green pepper. Love it. And then this one is the Craig's Grande jalapeno. They're getting a pretty good size. I planted these 2 and then this guy down here in, I keep saying September, but I'm pretty sure it was late July actually. I was looking at my notes and I think it was July. This one didn't go well because it got all the shade from the other ones, but these 2 are starting to really do well. They're getting taller, not quite as tall as the springtime counterparts, but they're making me very happy, and they're producing a lot of fruit, and that's what matters. Here's the other side of the poblano plant. Poblano plant with tons and tons of peppers on it right up here. And then a ton back there that are hanging down that we saw from the other side. So that is doing great. Probably won't plant them again, but I'm happy for whatever production we can get, honestly. And then spinning around these, take a step back. Trying to keep my shadow out of the picture, but look at this amount of space between these 2 pepper plants that are growing together. They are very much encroaching on my walkway, and they're going to be meeting each other in the middle if I don't do something about it. And I'm probably not going to do something about it. So, yeah, these are Anaheims. And they're getting heavy with fruit, and that's why they're leaning over like that. I have a stick here to support them a little bit, but they could probably use some rope or something. These ones you can see I have them tied up to the structure up there, so they're all up. So I probably should come do that with these guys. But they're doing well. There's 2 Anaheim plants in here. One is up closer and then one is back behind. And we harvested some of these, but there's still a fair few on there. Need to come out and harvest those again because I like them when they're green and they're starting to turn red. I'll come out and strip the whole plant with those. And then these 2 next to it, this is 2 really big plants, are Big Jim. And they're actually starting to look a lot better since I harvested and they've put on new fruit. The new fruit are looking a lot better than the other ones did. They're getting really big and they feel thicker. My problem that I had with them when I harvested them was the skin was a little bit thick, but then the amount of flesh inside was almost nothing after I roasted them down, because I was roasting them to do green chilies. So I'm glad to see that they're getting thicker. They feel a little thicker and they're looking a lot shinier than they did before. I think the plants are just healthier. And look at all of those new blossoms. There are going to be tons of peppers on this plant. Okay, this branch is coming over from the other side. These ones are Anaheim. This branch is coming from over there and just hanging out on this side. So these are imposters. These are Big Jims. They look very similar. The Anaheim is a little bit darker green and a little bit shinier. And then down here we have 2 pepper plants. There's an Ajvarsky and a Lesia. And I don't think they have any peppers on them. This is a branch coming over from the big gym again. So they're just stunted down here in the shadow. And down there on the very ground, which is, I should probably pick it because it's on the ground. But if you can see, that is a blot pepper down there in the bottom. And that plant is this one. So lots of little shaded out plants underneath the massive big gym. But we'll take what we can get. I'm not complaining. I put this bucket with a pole in it over here to store it. But now that the peppers are all taking over my walkway, I'm going to need to move it. In the corner of this bed, we have a Nada Pino that has decided to climb up and up and up and up. It's about as tall as me now. I'm 5'6", and it's probably an inch or two shorter than me. But it's producing some beautiful peppers. And when these turn red, they're so good. I like them green too, but I picked a red one the other day and it was just delicious. Just to even snack on. It's a jalapeno flavor with no heat. So they're really good in a salsa if you want to add some more jalapeno flavor without adding heat. I've definitely done that a few times. Nada Pino's looking great. And next to Nada Pino is Pippin's Golden Honey, which is being very prolific. Look at all that fruit, and they're starting to turn. These ones are a tasty snacking pepper, but I probably won't grow it again. I don't know. I feel like when things get really hyped up and then I try them and they're not quite as good as the hype, it makes me not really like them, even though they are still very good. But yeah, that's just one of my little quirks, I guess. This is a chamomile. There was one chamomile in here and it reseeded itself into a million little chamomiles. So we're going to see what happens with that. I probably won't thin them. I'll just keep watering them and see what happens. And next to that is peppermint, which died out in the summer but is coming back and looks great and smells great. Across from that bed is the garlic we planted together. And it looks like almost everybody has come up. I'm missing one like right there. But that is looking quite good. And then this one is elephant garlic. And there's a little tiny one right here. And then some of the other ones are starting to pop up a little bit. And these beds have all been dug in. This looks like squirrel because now there's a nut in there. And that's funny. But something's digging around in here a little bit, but nothing's taking anything. They're just, I don't know what they're doing, being buttheads. The funny thing about these nuts, my 4-year-old was playing with one, and then our dog tried to eat it, and he said, "No, don't eat that. A baby squirrel is going to come out of that nut." And I said, "Why do you think there's a baby squirrel coming out of that nut?" And he said, "Well, squirrels lay nuts, and then they hatch." So then we explained to him that squirrels do not in fact hatch out of nuts. They just eat nuts and they hide nuts. So that was a fun little story. Probably going to tell that one like at his wedding or something because he's hilarious. There's a little bucket of potatoes. And there's a little bit bigger bucket of potatoes. They're looking nice. This one with the tomato cage in it is looking slightly nicer because it's able to stand up and not get knocked over by rain and wind, but they will still both grow and produce food, so I'm not complaining. All right, saved this bed for last because there's some disappointment in there. There's a lot of really good in there too, but I planted out kohlrabi, as you may know if you've watched before. And 4 of them got eaten, and 1 of them didn't, and it was starting to produce, and it was looking amazing. And now it looks like that. Yeah. Something came in here. Not something. It was a rat, or potentially a squirrel, but more than likely a rat. Broke in and ate my kohlrabi. I'm so annoyed. And then we had seeded stuff in here that was popping up. And it's all gone. So whatever has been getting into this bed ate all the seedlings of the radishes and kohlrabi that we planted. and it's nibbled off some of the, I don't remember if that was a broccoli. I think that was a Romanesco cauliflower. Sorry, back there. We can go look from the other side. All right, but yeah, the kohlrabi being eaten makes me sad. This is Brussels sprouts. I'll keep my shadow here and we can see through the mesh better. The Brussels sprouts are starting to almost form just a little tiny bit in the armpits. So that's exciting. And then in the middle is a Romanesco cauliflower, and then on the back is another Brussels sprout. But that Romanesco cauliflower is looking tall and beautiful. Come around the back here and you can see something nibbled off the top leaves on this Brussels sprout, which is irritating. But it has all the water all over the leaves, and that's pretty and makes me happy. And then these last Romanesco cauliflowers that we threw in here together are getting their leaves munched off by whatever's coming in. It's probably coming in like right here, so I need to order more rat traps and set them up because all of mine broke. I get plastic ones and they don't stand up very well to the sun, so need to invest in something a little more heavy duty. But these peas back here are puny and are probably going to need to be replanted, but they are producing. There's a pea. I'm going to pop that one off and have it for breakfast. They're growing a little bit, but I'm going to replant those probably next week or the week after that, because I think it just got too warm for them, or maybe they just didn't like it when I had pulled off the mesh netting over the top of them. A couple of them lost tendrils and got pulled around and messed up a little bit, so they might just be not liking that. These are the two celebrity tomato plants. They are not putting on any tomatoes. They're putting on blossoms, and then the blossoms that I've noticed seem to dry out and fall off, and then they're starting to get some disease. So I'm feeling like fall tomatoes are not gonna be it for me this year. I might just pull out all my tomato plants. I didn't even mention the one over in the other bed. It doesn't even look worth mentioning. But I don't know if you can see with the sun shining on this at all. There's a nice little spider web here. And then the one pea plant that actually has grown tall in this bed. So, oh, there's a tomato in there. Guys, look at me doubting myself. There's one tomato on this plant. Maybe I just need to come in and prune some of the dead leaves. All right, partial success. Tell me to stop poo-pooing everything. This is the yellow beans. They got knocked down by the wind. They also look like something jumped through them, but I'm not sure. Might just be the wind and the rain knocked them over. But I have made a few harvests off of these, and they are looking close to ready for another one. And bush beans are usually good for like 1 or 2 really good harvests, and then you pull them out. So when it is time to pull them out, I'll come in and cut them off the base. Because in between here, I've got a spot where you can see, in between we have carrots planted. So those are growing in there, and they should take off much better once I remove the green bean plants. But yeah, they're happy in there. The green beans are producing well and they taste delicious. So we love that. This is Jerusalem artichoke that I'll probably just leave in the pot for another year or so and just see what keeps growing back from it. I don't plan on really harvesting. And then this way is the other mess that we need to clean up in a cleanup video sometime soon. This is the Mexican sunflower that's taken over the whole walkway. And it's gotten pretty beat up and starting to look a little ragged, even though there's still beautiful flowers coming up off of it. I mean, look at that. How can you not love that? That is gorgeous. But this is the walkway, and it all needs to be cleaned up. I need to get out here and weed whack and just clear the whole space. And then I also need a rake under there. That could possibly be part of the rat problem. So, big cleanups needed. But not today. And that brings us back to the front, and we'll talk about the rest of this bed real quick. These are the rutabagas that we had planted. Or I guess we didn't plant those. Did we plant those together? I don't remember. Yeah. These are the rutabagas we planted. And then there was a tomato here, and I pulled it out and put in 2 more broccolis. These were the Sun King variety, I believe. And I'm hoping that name means that they like the heat, because it doesn't really get cold here, so hopefully those do well. And then I left in the other tomato. I pulled out the Metallica tomato that did really well for me in the spring, but was just not doing it this year. And then this one that's left is a Purple Rain tomato. And it's doing all right. I see a couple of blossoms maybe starting to form, but not like, yeah, not producing anything really yet. Back here is the purple kohlrabi that we planted. And for some reason, everything that we planted on this side of the bed, knock on wood, is not getting eaten. But then as soon as we cross over this into this other, they're like separated into 4-foot sections. So the beans are in one 4-foot section, and then this is one 4-foot section. And then once we cross over into this 4-foot section, for some reason, everybody's getting eaten. There's my shishito plant. Got it in the shadow so you can see through the mesh. The peppers on it are minuscule and turning red. So it might be done for the season. I might just need to pull it out. And then we harvested all of the banana peppers when we did the relish. And they are definitely putting on more peppers. So banana peppers for fall, yes. Shishitos, probably not. And tomatoes, most likely not. Keep that in mind for next year, future me. But yeah, that's the garden today. Everything is doing something. Most of it's good. Some of it's not. But it is what it is. Anyway, thanks for coming on my video. Ruby, come here. You want to say bye? Come here. Say bye.